Hi, Mary Esther Gilbert back again for video number 4 in the Health Transformation series, where microcell nourishment is for optimal lifelong health. We left off at a slide that I will be going to in just a moment, but I wanted to recap very quickly what has been talked about in previous videos. Okay, so we went through the different body systems, the digestive system, the integumentary system, which is the skin, an eliminative organ, a very live organ indeed, that covers the entire body, and the respiratory system, the urinary system, the skeletal system, muscular system, nervous system, vascular system, or the blood vessels, and the veins and arteries, the other circulatory system, which is the lymph system, and the glandular system. And also, I talked about what determines real, authentic health, and that means getting down to the cell level, where cells are communicating properly to each other and providing the right information to each other, and proper oxygenation through exercise, hydration through the right types of water, making sure that your circulation is unobstructed, providing your body with the correct, biologically correct, molecularly correct nutrition, so eating right, optimal nutrient absorption through cell membranes inside the cells, and creating the right types of cells and tissues, and replicating the DNA properly so that nothing gets damaged along the way, so you're passing on healthy genes from one cell to another, efficient detoxification and elimination, and the correct transcription, repair, regeneration, recuperation of all systems in the body, maintaining the right chemical balance, which is homeostasis. So maintaining the body's right chemistry is the goal here for real, authentic health. And making sure you're taking care of your body through the right, the 9 elements: oxygenation, hydration, enzymes, nutrient absorption, utilization, with the aid of those enzymes, and making sure you're providing your body with all 9 essential amino acids in complete proteins, the right types of whole food carbohydrates, the right types of whole food fats, and in those whole foods, you have whole vitamin complexes, not partial synthetic versions, mineral complexes also. So we have the coenzymes and the cofactors that perpetuate the trillions of biochemical processes that are going on in the body every single moment of your life. And the phytonutrients, which are the antioxidants, which protect against other damaging cells that get inside the body, or bombard your body from the outside, protect your DNA or genetic code, and an ongoing, safe, and regular detoxification process going on in the body every single day. This is how you ensure your vibrant health, and this is how you reverse the disease process. Letting food be thy medicine, knowing where to get information that's reliable, and knowing the difference between advertising hype or old dogma that should have been thrown out decades ago, things like that. So knowing the difference between credible information and non-credible information is very important, so that you are not led astray in your health management. Knowing the whys and the hows of how the disease process happens. So, most people in the U.S. and other developed countries are in the disease process because they don't know enough about their own human body to put the right things in their body that will ensure that the degenerative disease process does not happen. All the different things that affect this process I went over before in the previous video. And now we arrive where we started. This will be the beginning of this video series. So as far as knowing what's inside the entire human organism and how it operates, we must understand what's happening at the microcell level and even smaller levels. So let's take this digestive system, for instance. We have the accessory organs, the spleen and the liver, the pancreas. All of these organs assist the digestive system. So we've got food that enters the stomach, chewed properly in the mouth, down the esophagus, into the stomach, and where food is further broken down. And then once it gets into a mass called a bolus, it goes inside the intestines and gets further broken down. So the body has to break these gigantic food molecules down to their micro basic components. So let's go through this process here. Let's take the stomach, for instance. The stomach, like anything else in the body, is composed of tissues, which is very specific and specialized for the function that they serve for that organ. And also, those tissues are composed of cells, so we're going deeper and smaller into the inner universe of the body. And inside each cell is the genetic instructions, the code that directs how those cells function and how those cells interact with other cells in the body. Inside each cell is the world of the inner cell, and every cell has various components called organelles. So there are little organs in there that are doing their job in keeping you alive. So they maintain the immune system, they help regenerate new tissues, they help the cell itself replicate itself correctly. So everything has to be functioning optimally and normally and correctly depending on how well you nourish your body. The macromolecules are going even smaller. Okay, these compose all of those things that are inside the organelles. The organelles are composed of very gigantic molecules as molecule size goes. And each of these macromolecules are composed of individual molecules that build on and create this macromolecule. And each molecule is composed of individual atoms, which exist because of the proton, electron, and neutron configurations of the atoms. We've all seen, Tinker Toy diagrams or three-dimensional Tinker Toy things that represent atoms, and we've seen the two-dimensional diagrams of atoms. But really, in its multidimensional form, these electrons are circulating the nucleus of the atom very, very rapidly, at maximum speed, the speed of light, and all the energetic frequencies of everything is happening very, very fast at the atomic level. And depending on how many electrons the body has, sometimes the atoms lose electrons and cause this whole chain reaction at the continual macro scales of things that can go wrong. So what's happening at the atomic scale is very, very important too. And that also means providing the right molecules from your whole foods that will have the electron configurations that will be able to donate those electrons to make sure that everything is working properly in the body at that scale. So what affects everything at the atomic scale affects everything on up the line all the way up to the macro scale. Here's a electron biophotonic diagram of the DNA, the oxyribonucleic acid, which houses all of the genetic code, the genetic instructions. As you see on the rungs of the DNA ladder here, they're arranged in very specific orders, and if these sequences get disordered or damaged or confused, then that's when everything will go wrong in the body. So our job at the macro scale is to provide our bodies with the right molecules so that the sequence of genes do not get damaged, confused, or disordered. So this is a protein molecule. Typical protein molecules are twisted and turned, and they rearrange themselves to a very, very specific configuration so that they can arrive at the cell membrane. As you see here on the outside of the cell, there's a specific membrane. Here's a blow-up of that membrane. And here are very specific identification sites that will allow things either in or repel them out. Okay, so a protein like this, it could be any number of the thousands of proteins that the human body is composed of. It could be an enzyme, it could be another biochemical that stimulates other enzymes into action or other hormones into action. Hormones are proteins, enzymes are proteins. So proteins vary in size and in construction and to the extent of how complex they are. So it's important to break everything down to the point where it will fit into this microscopic cell membrane and enter the cell so that the cell can begin with its manufacturing sites in here and all these different components that do specific jobs to maintain your body. So all the protein that your body is made of begins inside the cell. These are our protein cell manufacturing sites. Your body processes fats, your body processes sugars. Everything that happens inside the cell affects your body on the outside. So your energy that your cells produce are made inside the cells. And inside every single cell is the DNA. So this is the genetic instructions, the genetic program that instructs every single thing that goes on in your body. And we're talking about multiple trillions of biological processes, biochemical processes that go on every single day. So if you don't provide your body with the right molecules, then something can go wrong, things can come to a halt, and something won't get taken care of, and that snowballs into a health condition or degenerative condition. It could be anything that your body might need to make it at any particular moment comes to a grinding halt. So very important that we know what you are putting in your body in the form of the right types of food. Just to give you a view of one of the systems, let's take the muscular system, and if you see, if you were to blow this up into the macro scale, and this is very microscopic, we generally cannot see this very well with our naked eyes, but if you were to blow this up under a microscope, you could see all the different muscle fibers and the fact that every single muscle fiber is the cell, and it has the DNA housed in there as well. So every single type of cell, whether it's a round blood cell, a different shaped bone cell, a nerve cell, which is completely different looking than all the other cells in the body, or a long striated muscle cell, then it will always have the DNA and the instructions inside there. Here's a picture of other types of cells. So correct body maintenance from within means protecting your body's micro inner universe. The nerve cells from the brain and the nervous system look like this. Again, there's the DNA inside there telling the cell how to operate, how to function, how to replicate itself, and so and also how to communicate with other cells in the body. So the nerve network connects to every other type of system, and therefore every type of tissue and structure and fluid, and therefore every type of cell in the body. So we've got the muscle cells, the striated, which are the voluntary muscles. And we've got the smooth muscles, which are organ muscles, and including the heart muscle, which are involuntary, and they work without any effort on our part. They're an autonomic system. They just automatically keep going. The bone cell, and again, the DNA tells that cell how to behave and how to function. The bone cells are the same way. They do have connections to, whether it's blood vessels or nerves, to other parts of the body, but they do have a living matrix on the inside that is ever producing new red blood cells and white blood cells, and doing so by the instructions of that genetic code inside that DNA, inside that cell. So that happens with the reproductive cells. Here's the ovum of the woman. Again, there's the DNA. We've got a sperm cell. We've got DNA going on, communicating with the entire length of that sperm. And we've got red blood cells, red blood cells, lymphocytes, monocytes, those are the white blood cells, different types of cells that are always active and protecting the body and making sure everything is operating according to the optimal functioning without interference of other invasive microorganisms. The glandular cells look different. So see, the body is composed of all these tissues that are composed of all these different types of cells. And even though they have a different job to do, they are always in communication with other cells in the body and other systems. So we are infinitely intricate in our inner ecology. It's fascinating to see the nervous system in itself. It's the master control and is in touch with every single cell in every single system in the entire body. So it monitors, along with hormones, monitors the entire system and tells you in the form of pain or any kind of discomfort like hunger or thirst. And so it will detect differences in your biochemistry and in your stimulus, whatever you respond to, whether you touch a hot stove or cut yourself or something, you'll always have a feedback from this very, very intricate nervous system. So we have along the spinal cord all these different nerves that are spread out to the entire system, and of course to the vertebrae. So everything is connected and monitored and interpreted through the nervous system. Here is an electron microscope picture of a nerve, and again you see the cell membrane, the cell DNA, the instructions telling that cell how to operate. This is a picture of it's a drawing of a nerve cell too, and each one of these cells has dendrites, and each of these dendrites that connect to other cells of the nerve cells, which is the neural pathways of communication in the body, so they connect from neuron point to node, and they go lightning speed very quickly, delivering these impulses to the entire body. But going back to this diagram here, this coating here that you see colored in blue is actually a fatty acid coating. So if you don't eat the right types of fats in your diet, if you eat fried foods or if you eat plasticized fats like the hydrogenated fats, oils that have been heated at high temperatures or bombarded with hydrogen atoms, turning them into a form of a plastic. So that cannot be broken down by the body, and they get stuck in the circulatory system, in the filtration system, and they build up plaques, and they interfere with the functioning of they destroy the DNA of the cell. So of course the system is going to start malfunctioning if the cells and the DNA instructions are being destroyed, or at least damaged to the point where they malfunction. So eating the right types of fats is very important to nourish your nervous system and to nourish and make sure that the hormonal system is also functioning optimally. So over here is just the depictions of where your nerves connect to. This is the autonomic nervous system. In other words, the nervous system is constantly communicating with other systems without you even knowing it. So it's taking care of your eyesight and your tear glands, your nose, the membranes in your mouth. It's all maintaining the glands in the jawline and the sublingual glands in your tongue. Salivary glands are being produced automatically. Your heart is pumping automatically. Your lungs are expanding and contracting automatically. Even when you do, conscious breathing, expanding and contractions of your lungs, it's still working, breathing, helping you obtain oxygen from the air, especially when you're sleeping. The stomach is automatically breaking foods down for you and breaking them down to the point where you can absorb the broken down food substances that get broken down into the basic nutrients of proteins, fats, and carbohydrates and enzymes. And the blood vessels inside the abdomen are absorbing nutrients automatically. You don't have to consciously think, I need to absorb this nutrient. The liver is functioning to handle the fats that you're taking in and to handle the sugars that you're taking in. The pancreas is producing the glucagon and the insulin, which help regulate your blood sugar. The adrenal glands are helping you handle stress in different ways, and the small intestine is breaking foods down even further for absorption. So it just goes on and on. The kidneys, the bladder, the fallopian tubes and the reproductive organs in the male, everything is happening autonomically or automatically thanks to the nervous system. So this is just another example of the kind of intricacies and the complexities that go on in the human body. Real health is defined. Okay, so this is something that if a person becomes healthy in an authentic way and in a biologically correct way, they're doing all the right things, then they will experience the real health. So real health isn't really just having a health condition and going to a medical appointment and taking care of the symptoms that way. So that's not really addressing the root causes. It's not really addressing the helping your body function optimally. So a person who is in true health, in real health, this is the definition. a person has consistent high levels of natural energy every day without stimulants. If they're getting their proper rest, if they're getting their regular exercise, if they are recuperating from those exercise sessions properly by optimal nourishment, complete and correct, full-range nutrient nourishment with whole foods grown in nutrient-dense environments. So, there's a lot goes into food production and determining the level of nutrition that it offers. So that all comes into play in producing consistent high levels of natural energy every single day. And to also, a person who is truly healthy is always alert, has keen mental performance every single day. They never have a down day. If they do everything right every single day consciously, if they do have a down day, they can realize why, because they probably didn't eat enough to nourish and fuel all those trillions of cells, or if they exercised and they did not eat in a timely manner to replenish and recuperate from those workouts to come back stronger than before. So all those things come into play. Being alert, physical strength, stamina all day long. That's another aspect of knowing that you've done your job in nourishing your body properly and taking care of it properly. Fast healing of accidental injuries or even surgeries. If you have to go in for a surgery, or if you've been in an accident, God forbid, that you are injured, if you are properly nourished, you will recuperate and heal more quickly. And a person also does not live with chronic pain. If there is a pain in the body, your body is telling you that somewhere in your system something is going wrong, something is being damaged, and it needs to be addressed. That's what the nervous system for, that's what the brain is for, that's what our senses are for, to tell us that something has gone wrong. So, but if someone is actually taking care of their body the way it was designed, then they will not live with chronic pain. A truly healthy person is rarely ill. They have a strong immune system. The immune system takes care of the invasion of any, illness-causing microorganisms, bacteria from food poisoning. You ate at a restaurant and you didn't watch their bacterial count in your food properly, so ends up in feeling terrible. Your immune system is actively destroying these invasive bacterium, and so it's taking care of it in a prompt and efficient manner. So, but if your illness lingers for many days, over a week or two, sometimes 3, sometimes with viral colds or flus, then that means your immune system is not taking care of it as efficiently as it was designed to be. So a strong immune system will take care of a flu or a cold within a matter of just a few days, maybe 3 or 4 days at the most, and then you'll have just the residual, drainage effects after that. But as far as having the virus replicate itself with your DNA and constantly producing the fevers and the aches associated with these types of illnesses, then your immune system, if it's strong enough, will take care of it right away. A well person, a vibrantly healthy, optimally well person handles stress more calmly and more logically. It's better to make it can make more logical choices and has a better perspective on things and is able to make better decisions even under stress. Again, perspectives are enhanced. A person who is well also, now we're getting into the subatomic energetic realm, where a healthy person will make better choices through a higher perspective. So they also are better able to recognize truth because they have practiced the right truth as far as their bodies are concerned, right down to the energetic atomic spectrum. So they are able to feel in their DNA how their cells are vibrating, and if truth is not, if they don't experience a truth, then they will know. They will be able to tell. Their body will tell them what's going on. So seeking truth is something that people who are vibrantly healthy are able to recognize and feel. Higher personal moral standards, that goes in par with vibrating at a higher molecular atomic frequency. A person who is well will vibrate at a higher frequency than a person who is not well. If we could check the atomic activity, then a person who is ill is missing electrons from their cells. So their molecules are missing electrons. So we have to understand what's going on here. When a cell becomes ill, when the atoms in the molecular structures of the cells become ill, then that means they're missing electrons. So if you eat properly and start exercising properly, or at least going outdoors and collecting electrons from the earth, which is called grounding, it's scientifically documented that people who go out and onto the earth with bare feet, or if they hug a tree, they're literally collecting electrons that their hungry, degeneratively healthless bodies are absorbing. And it's already been scientifically documented for many decades that when people go out in nature, they experience better health. And that is why this is happening at the atomic level. They're collecting electrons that help their cells function optimally and correctly again. So this happens when we eat the right foods. Again, they're donating electrons. Those molecules in the foods are donating those electrons to the malfunctioning, damaged cells, and help the cells right themselves again and function optimally again. A lot more goes on at the sub-micro levels than we realize, and that is what's being examined more and more in the sciences. So a person who is optimally healthy begins to realize that they have charisma. They appear luminous and radiant to others. Others can feel their positive, uplifting energy in a room that translates into higher likability. They're able to inspire other people. They find themselves in leadership positions involuntarily, even because people look to them for answers. And it's inexplainable and it seems intangible. But when you look at what's going on at the micro level, this is what's actually going on. They are literally more radiant. So all this goes along with elevated psychological well-being. A person who is vibrating at a higher frequency will experience psychological well-being. That's a very solid association that occurs simultaneously at the same time. So this is an association that people always experience. So they go on to make better health and life choices because they're feeling so much better. They're so much mentally alert. They're able to make better decisions based on sound thought and ideas. So they have different perspectives, better perspectives, higher perspectives, more whole perspectives on things rather than limited perspectives. So they are, in essence, disease-free with zero chronic health conditions. Zero digestive upsets is just one example. Okay, so this is what real health is. There's so many more that I could list here, but these are basically what I have noticed in the 4 decades that I've been helping people get well through my system. At this point, I will break, and I will go on in the next transformation video series will be why do we eat? Why do we eat, and what do we eat? How do we put food combinations together, or how do we select our foods, and what do we need to know about where our food comes from? Things like that will be covered in the next video. So at this point, I thank you so much for joining me, and I will definitely be seeing you, hopefully, in the next video. And I will see you soon. Thank you so much for joining me.